Just to give a background, the area of Kashmir has been the area of light, just as Kashi is. Kashi is considered to be an area of light. So was Kashmir, and the light was that of the sages of Kashmir Shaivism. Because the surroundings were pristine, people had the time to just get lost into meditation by observing the beauty that was present there. So this land produced great sages. And it begins with Vasugupta, who was a great master. Why we call this system Kashmir Shaivism is because Shaivism was born because of revelations given by Lord Shiva. So we are going to study the Shiva Sutras. Lord Shiva appeared in a dream of Vasugupta. And he told Vasugupta that I have revealed certain secrets, and these secrets are available under a rock that is at the foot of a mountain, a holy mountain. This rock is not far from Srinagar. And Vasugupta went there. The lore is that when he touched the rock, it turned all by itself. And the Shiva Sutras were inscripted on the rock. Another story is that perhaps this did not happen. The revelation came in the dream itself. So the sutras were revealed, and these sutras give a wonderful foundation to the understanding of the divine and the nature of our own existence. And Vasugupta meditated on these sutras, and he taught these sutras to some of his disciples. One of the disciples was one Kshemaraja, and Kshemaraja was a very illustrious disciple. So there were many people who had learned something or the other of Shiva Sutras, but Kshemaraja felt that the true meaning of the sutras was not being given. So he decided to write a commentary on the Shiva Sutras, which he called Shiva Sutra Vimarshini. And this has been the standard text which students of Kashmir Shaivism have studied over and over again. A sutra is mystical. We are aware of the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. So if we see the sutras, what happens is that a sutra is not a complete sentence. Just a few words put together. Often without a verb. A sentence gets completed when a verb is there. In many sutras, there is no verb. Like yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha. But a sutra is profound. There are words within the words. There is meaning within the meaning. So to learn from the sutra is not confined only to an intellectual understanding of the meaning of the word. If we really want to learn, we have to meditate upon the word. Meditate upon the conjunctions of the words. And then at some point of time, a breakthrough can happen. And when the breakthrough happens, then a meaning is revealed to the person, which will be essential for him to understand the real import of the sutra. And why these are called sutras? Because a sutra is like a thread. Sutra means thread. So it is like a thread on which different beads of a mala can be strung together. So when you read a scripture which is made up of sutras, one sutra is separate from the other, and the two may have different meanings. But if you meditate upon the sutras, you find that all the sutras are like beads strung together on a string. And the composite meaning or the understanding of the sutra can bring a breakthrough in your understanding and also in your life. It is not so much about intellectually understanding what the sutra conveys. It is going behind the meaning and finding what it means to us. I remember I was with Solita Variaji when his book on the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras came. He took some classes, but one day he was talking to me and he said, "Son, to get out of the Yoga Sutras, to get something out of the Yoga Sutras, do not so much bother about the intellectual meaning of the words. Meditate upon the words. And then you will see that there is something behind the word. And what is behind the word is often more important than what is in the word. And that is when you grow spiritually. So we have to approach the Shiva Sutras with this understanding. Not so much to understand what is the intellectual meaning, but to grasp how it is conveying the truth, which is permanent and which explains everything. So let us all begin with the prayer. So we will do our usual prayer, but we address this prayer to all the masters in the universe. And also especially to the great masters of Kashmir Shaivism. Because without their grace, we may miss what we want to figure out or we want to have from the sutras. So just close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, use the power of your breath to be centered in the heart. Bring to your heart this lineage coming directly from Lord Shiva. And also bring to your heart your own masters, your gurus, your teachers and guides. And with great humility, let us seek their blessings and solicit their grace so that we can have a meaningful session. We will chant Om 3 times and then do the Guru Vandana. अखण्डमण्डलाकारम् व्याप्तं येन चराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ श्री सद्गुरुवे नमः। We bow down with great reverence to the lineage of the Siddhas of Kashmir Shaivism, starting from Sri Vasugupta to Swami Lakshmanju Maharaj, through whose grace the Shiva Sutras have been revealed and their meanings expounded. Let us seek their blessings once again. Om Shri Sadguruve Namaha. I am sharing a link. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes.
Thank you. So as I told you in the beginning that Shiva Sutras are Shaivagamas, these are revealed by Lord Shiva. And so I told you about the sutras, that these are short sentence statements and many times without a formal word. And like a string, they run through and bind together that which they are revealing. Then the Kashmir Shaivism is based on the Trik system. Trik means threefold. So what is threefold in the system? Okay, there is Shiva, and when Shiva is there, the Shakti is always present. It is like fire and heat. Heat cannot be separated from fire. In the same way, Shakti cannot be separated from Shiva. So Shiva and Shakti, this combination is always present. And out of that combination, when it begins to descend in the creation, then there is Nara, or the human being. So there are many systems that say that, oh, Nara is not important, this is important, or Shiva is important, or sometimes some systems say that nothing is there, there is nothingness. But the Shaiva system, it is Trik system, it recognizes everything and it deals with everything. Then because of these three systems, that Shiva is there, there are three energies of Shiva. One is Parashakti, which is the supreme energy. There is Para Shakti, which is medium energy, and then Shakti, which is inferior energy. Now we can understand this through the states in which we are present. The inferior energy, Shakti, is felt when we are in the waking state and dream state. So we are acting out of our preconceived notions, out of our mental habit and mental patterns. So we are in the grip of the inferior Shakti. Shakti is there, but it is inferior. Whether we are in the waking state or in the dream state, all our actions or everything that we do, whatever happens to us, everything is being governed by something which is there in the mind, some residue which is present. So it is the inferior energy. Then Para Shakti, superior and inferior combination, that is the state of deep sleep. When we are in a dreamless sleep, then we are close to the Parashakti, but we are still in the grip of the inferior energy. Why? Because our awareness is shut. So we are not fully awake or awakened. So it is deep sleep, is the state is Parashakti. It is only when we transcend all these three states and get into the Turiya state, which is just pure awareness, that is when we are experiencing or we have become Parashakti. So this is a small kind of a backdrop. And because I said, in the beginning I said Trik philosophy recognizes Shiva and Shakti and man, so it is intended for any human being. It is not restricted to any caste or creed or color. And the whole purpose of the Trik system of Kashmir Shaivism is to enable an aspirant or a seeker to rise from his individual consciousness to universal consciousness. And these are based on scriptures which are called agamas. I forgot to write agamas. These have come straight from Shiva, Lord Shiva. There are the three Shaktis, there are three types of upayas, three types of prescriptions available to an individual to move away from individual consciousness to God consciousness. One is Shambhavopaya. Shambhavopaya is an upaya which is coming straight from Shambhu, Lord Shiva. In this, what happens is that no upaya is needed, no process is necessary, no practice is needed, just the grace of the Master happens, and a person immediately transcends all barriers and he gets established into God consciousness. We have seen this kind of thing happening to many people. How Ramakrishna Paramhans gave the experience of enlightenment to Swami Vivekananda. He just held his hand, transferred the energy, and Vivekananda went into Samadhi. My Param Guru Baba Muktanand received a very intense Shaktipat from his Guru Bhagwan Nityanand. And when it happened, and after some time, when he had come out of the ashram of the Guru, there was these raindrops falling, and in every single raindrop he saw this divine energy dancing. So this is his Shambhavopaya. The aspirant is so ready that the Master just has to put the grace, and there is a complete shift. The mystical entry happens without any process. That is the process. Grace is the process, that's all. The disciple does not have to do anything. Then there is Shaktopaya. Shaktopaya is what? You are taking recourse or taking the help of the energy to rise above. Now what happens is that you meditate or contemplate on something which cannot be spoken or recited. Now many of you have had this experience that we meditated upon just the energy, and then everything dropped. You went into a state of deep inner contemplation or inner reserve. So what happens? This is a mystical entry which is happening through Shaktopaya. You are not using any mental object or any word, you are not using a mantra, you are not using the breath. You just watch the energy, the awareness. I am seeing something, something happens to me, or something is happening in meditation, and just I ask myself, who is watching this? So the awareness shifts from the object of meditation or contemplation to the seer, the one who is watching. And that whole object disappears. Only pure awareness remains. So this is Shaktopaya. And then there is Anubhavopaya. Here the mystical entry takes place through concentration or on parts of the body. So you focus on certain areas of your body, that those areas will start purifying. The karmic impressions collected in those parts of the body will go away. Purification will happen. Or you do some contemplation. So you take a statement like, who am I? And meditate on that. As a result of that, you keep asking, who am I? Who am I? And suddenly, it's like a process of elimination. You are peeling layers of onion. So one layer is gone, the second layer is gone. Finally, nothing remains. You get into that state which is beyond all thought. Or you can do it through recitation. So when you recite something, each syllable, each word, each syllable or each alphabet is resonating in certain parts of the body. So when we repeat a mantra, we over and over again, that part of the body starts getting activated. And as we are being raised in higher energy, then our lower tendencies are transcended and we get into a higher state. Or it can be through the breath. So breath is prana. When we focus on the breath, we get connected to prana, and through the prana we can rise in awareness from the lower chakras to the higher chakras, and the divinity can be known. But these are the three upayas. So there is the three, there's these systems, and then there are these upayas, and these upayas tell us how we are going to travel from the individual consciousness to universal consciousness. Now, what kind of upaya is going to work for you? It depends upon your ability and readiness. So, in Shaiva system, what they say is that you should always start with the highest upaya. Normally what happens, we are always thinking, oh, I am not good enough, how will I do this, I cannot do this, I am not ready for this. So we try to start with something which is the Anuvapaya, the lowest of all. Here what the Shaivagama says, that you always start from the highest. So in the Shiva Sutras also, we start from the highest. So we begin with this, what the Shiva Sutras begin, it is called the first awakening, Pratham Unmesh. This is the highest, this is the Shambhava Upaya. So it is just like this, that one sutra you catch, and if you can really get it, then others may not be necessary. The Shiva Sutras have become alive in your life. So let us begin. And what is that sutra? The first sutra. It says, Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam, you repeat to yourself, Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Repeat silently within yourself. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. What is Atma? Normally we think Atma is the self. And somebody asks, what is the self? We say, we don't know, we cannot touch it, we cannot find it. Gita says it cannot be destroyed, it cannot become wet, it cannot be put fire to, and yet it is there within us. But according to the Shiva Sutras, Atma means the reality of everything. Chaitanyam Atma. So what is the reality of everything? That anything which is existing and is real, it has to be Chaitanya. And what is Chaitanya? It has to be filled with supreme consciousness. It is not the consciousness that I am this body, I am my religion, I am my nationality, I am my caste and my color, my education, my family tradition. The Shiva Sutra proclaims Chaitanyam Atma. The reality of everything is supreme consciousness. So something that is not conscious cannot be real. Now you might say that, well, there may be such and such person, he is not conscious. Somebody is sleeping, he is not conscious. Is it not real? So the masters of Kashmir Shaivism explain that no, one is conscious. For one who is conscious, the act of consciousness is there. And for one who is not conscious, the act of consciousness is still there in the background though. So it is there. Even the unconscious man, a person who is in deep sleep, he does not know. The supreme vibration of God is present there inside him. Because he has covered it with the darkness of sleep, he does not know. But Chaitanyam Atma, it is self-effulgent, it is always shining bright. And because there is consciousness within us, the supreme consciousness is present, we make others conscious. You hug somebody with great love. And because you are conscious, energy of consciousness gets transferred to that person. He or she may be in a state which is full of sorrow and anxiety, and yet your touch transforms that state. And he becomes alive with energy. So it is this consciousness, this Chaitanya, which makes other people also conscious. And this consciousness is independent of all knowledge and action. So no matter what kind of knowledge is there, somebody may be a PhD, somebody may be a great scholar of the scriptures, and another person may not have read anything. He cannot even speak 2 full sentences correctly. And yet the same consciousness is present in both persons. Because they are Chaitanya. And this Chaitanya is what? Supreme independent consciousness. This independence, the ability to create something, the ability to do something just like that, it is this independence that distinguishes this supreme consciousness from awareness. In our awareness, we are guided by our mental constraints, thought patterns, habit patterns. But behind each thought pattern or habit pattern, there is this consciousness, supreme consciousness, which is supremely free, and it is always lurking in the background. So whenever some action happens, the action is happening through this Supreme Consciousness. So just close your eyes for a moment. And don't do anything in particular, but be aware of this Chaitanya, the Supreme Consciousness which is present. And give yourself the mantra Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Can you give this Chaitanya a name, a description, a quantity, a measurement? No, it just is. The supremely free energy which can create, maintain and destroy anything. And even when everything is destroyed, it remains in a dormant form, retaining its potential. To have another cycle of creation, maintenance and dissolution. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. If you become aware of your body, also be aware that Chaitanya is above the body. The body is contained in this. If you become aware of any of your senses functioning, be aware that this consciousness ever present and unattached is behind the senses. So when you see, there is an eye of the eye. When you hear, there is the ear of the ear. When you breathe, there is the breath of the breath. When you touch something, there is the touch of the touch. All actions are performed, and all cognitive actions are also performed only through this awareness, this supreme consciousness which is absolutely free. And when you move away from the body, from your thought and your senses, to find the company of this supremely free awareness, you can rest in your own sovereignty, be the master with complete freedom. No wonder we call some of the sannyasis as Swami. One who is a master. But to be a Swami, you don't have to be a renunciate. Just by understanding and imbibing Chaitanyam Atma, you can become a Swami, a true master. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Spiritual practices have to be done with great respect and love. If you make it a punishment to yourself, it becomes dry and distracting. So invite the experience of Chaitanya, the Supreme God Consciousness, with great love. Ganges comes from Gangotri. But when it must be flowing through the plains, where so many drains full of dirty water and sewage get emptied into it, it must be longing to go back to those pristine glaciers from where its journey starts. In the same way, we have drawn our origins from Shiva, but we have come to this world of form and attribute, the world of duality. Shiva within us is longing to go back to the pristine state. And the mantra is simple. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Very, very gently start becoming aware of your body, your breath, your surroundings. But keep the awareness of Chaitanya Atma. Everything about you and about your environment is nothing but a manifestation of the Supreme Divine Energy. And keeping this state, this inner state intact, when you are ready, you can gently open your eyes. If it is difficult to bring yourself out, take a few deep breaths. So how did it go today? Anybody feels like speaking something? So you can unmute and speak.
It was an excellent session.
Thank you, Leelani.
This is what I've been longing to learn.
Okay, you are most welcome.
It's so clear. I could follow the meaning of the sutra very well.
Okay, we are not done with it. Maybe it will go on for
No,
another session,
it
one or
was
two
very,
sessions more.
it was very beautiful.
Yes, Shashi?
I said it was extremely beautiful.
Uh-huh.
I want to ask you that the
Yes.
PowerPoint presentation that you're doing,
Yes.
can we get a copy of that?
I will
Because
share
it's
it.
something we have to do again and again.
I will share it. I think maybe one or two sessions are needed,
Yeah.
even for this very sutra,
Yes,
because
yes.
it
It's
is full
wonderful.
of, it has many kind of
Facets to it, yes.
nuances and many
Yes.
facets. So I will
Many powers
definitely.
to it, actually.
Uh,
Many powers to it.
uh,
It's very powerful. Many powers to it.
and somehow there is something magical about these words,
Words
Chaitanya
itself.
Mahatma, just
Yes.
repeating. Thank you, Shashi.
Thank you, Prashad.
सर
It was so beautiful.
Yes, Manoj.
सर ये जो
बोलो.
सर आवाज आ रही
हाँ, आवाज आ रही.
शिव की 3 शक्तियों के बारे में जो बात हुई है सर, इसमें प्रकृति की जो 3 त्रिगुणात्मक शक्तियां होती हैं, उसी से संबंधित है, मतलब स्वप्न, जागृत और तुरीय अवस्थाएं जो प्रकृति की होती हैं.
उनका ये कहना है कश्मीर शैविज्म के हिसाब से जो आपकी जागृत अवस्था है और स्वप्न अवस्था है उसमें दोनों में आप जो ये इंफीरियर एनर्जीज है उसके संपर्क में है. जब गहन निद्रा में होते हैं तब जो है वो परा अपरा मतलब सुपीरियर इन्फीरियर एनर्जी का जो कॉम्बिनेशन है उसके प्रभाव में रहते हैं. और जब उससे भी पार चले जाते हैं तुरीयावस्था में, जैसे ध्यान करते हो, जब एक स्थिति आती है कि गहन निद्रा जैसा लगता है, उसके बाद वो तंद्रा होती है और तंद्रा से भी पार चले गए तो बिल्कुल पूरी तरह से जगे हुए हैं लेकिन मन में कोई विचार नहीं है. तो तुरीयावस्था जो है उसमें वो शुद्ध शक्तियों के संपर्क में होता है. कश्मीर शैविज्म में इसको इस तरह से. Anybody else? Vatsala, you wanted to say something? You have unmuted yourself. उमा जी कैसा लगा आपको? ओके. हाँ, विकास, go ahead. You have raised your hand.
बहुत अच्छा लगा.
हाँ.
बिल्कुल जैसे मैं आपसे बोलता हूँ वैसे ही महसूस हो रहा था.
क्या?
कितनी बार तो मैं अपने आप को रोक रहा था कि मैं ना जाऊं, फिर भी ट्रांसफर चला ही जाता.
नहीं, we can't hear you. Can you hear what Vikas is? Can you speak a little louder?
एक सेकंड सर. इज इट बेटर?
हाँ, yes, very clear.
सर फिर से इस बार ट्रांसफर चला गया, वहीं पे काफी देर तक रहा.
ठीक है, बहुत अच्छा. फिर आपको वो ये शांभव उपाय है ना,
हाँ.
इसमें कोई ये उपाय की जरूरत ही नहीं है, अपने आप ही हो जाता है. तो
अपने
आपके
आप ही हो जाए.
गुरु लोग जो है जो आपको चाहिए वो कर दे रहे हैं, तो फिर चिंता मत करो. It's not necessary for you to listen to the session. Thank you. So we'll close now. So if everybody has liked, then we will continue with these sessions. Otherwise, I was a little apprehensive.
So we should continue, sir.
कैसा लगता है? ओम सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु. सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु. सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनो सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।